time now for the hot sauce. This is a hot time of year, folks getting out graduation parties. Summer's just starting, the school year's ending. Teens get together wanting to have a lot of fun. But sometimes when those teens get together, they can make some bad choices. Joining us now is Lynn Rifkin-Shine. She is a mental health expert. Lynn, you know, there are some things that parents can do to help make sure their children make the best choices possible. What are some of the pitfalls out there? What are some of the reasons that they're making some bad choices?
I think it starts when a child's young, and parents, and I've said this before, is that of course the loving parent is we try to help them to not feel uncomfortable. So we tend to make decisions for them sometimes or help them. They need to learn how to sit with discomfort, because if you think about it, a lot of the choices they make are to avoid discomfort of peer pressure, avoid discomfort by drinking or using drugs so that they curb some of their feelings. And it's really important from an early age to help them to make good decisions. And I use the word ad nauseum. Well, you have a choice. You can do X.
I do too,
jump off that thing. You can do that. That's your choice. But if you do it, you could get really hurt. So you still allow them to feel like they're in control, but you certainly have to manage.
Make the choices, give them choices when the choices have smaller consequences. So they're comfortable when those consequences
all the
get
way
bigger.
through.
You know, I think a lot about, you mentioned peer pressure and kind of group thinking. And I think that is sometimes hard for teens to stand out from the group and not really get caught up in that. What advice would you give them to help them to be comfortable with their own decision away from the group?
Well, I think that the most important part is understanding when you're a parent and you find out that a bad choice is going to be made, because your kids are going to make bad choices. So I think that you need to make sure that you're teaching them to sit with those consequences of the bad choices. You need to give them consequences. You need to be able to give them, talk to them ahead of time, be proactive by saying, look, a whole lot of people will be drinking. What will you do? Give them excuses, because sometimes it won't come to them.
They don't have the words. Give them the words if they need a script, if you will.
They don't. And let yourself be open, because sometimes parents panic. So they either fight with their kids and they're yelling at them, or they shut down and they won't speak to them. Neither one is okay, because the kids avoid then talking to their parents and they're not making good choices.
And after something has happened, can you use that then as a learning moment to then discuss with your kid, okay, what happened? What would you do next time differently? Is that a good opportunity then?
That's fantastic. I mean, always use any opportunity to communicate. If something's on TV, like the unfortunate incident that happened with the little boy, well, the 18-year-old that lost his life recently because he ran away from the policeman.
On the motorcycle.
When you're watching news events like that, instead of having your children avoid it, you use every opportunity. That's where news can be so effective to help communicate with your children, and talk to them about, look at the choice, look at the consequence. And when your child makes a bad choice, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink, but you can make them pretty thirsty. So you need to make it the consequences there. You can't take the control from them, but you certainly need to make them recognize the consequences and make, if they have a boyfriend you don't like, you can't stop them from seeing them, but you certainly can not drive them to where they need to be so often. Stop enabling.
I understand. All right, very good. Lynn Rifkin-Shine, we appreciate your insight as always. It's time now to send things over to Emily Lenahan and the